Good morning, team Esteem and Foundation Strength. Welcome to another home workout recorded live at Rex's Gym. Today, we're going to build on what we did last week on the Monday, which was where we introduced our shopping bag weights. So we're going to do that circuit with a few tweaks to keep the body moving along and keep you getting stronger and fitter even when we're in lockdown. All right, let's get warmed up. High knees to start with. What a difference today is compared to the weekend. Beautiful. Looks great out there. Now, a little bit sad, Paralympics has ended. Like, what am I going to watch now? Maybe I'll just need to be productive and stuff instead. It's a sad state of affairs. And quad walks. Again, if you need longer on these walks, just take a little longer, that's fine. You can pause the video and stuff. If you need a few more, do a few more. If you need a few less, don't do less, come on. As a great man once said, you don't have time to warm up, you don't have time to work out. Who said that, Rex? I don't know, it's just something I heard someone said. And makes a lot of sense. Cradles. And hinges. And lunges, give me that reach overhead. Reach. Reach. Now try to have those arms not here, but there. Call it bicep to the ears. And then the further in we can be, the better off you'll be throughout this workout, because there is a bit of overhead work in here. I want you to find a doorway or something. Do something sturdy to hold on to. So we're going to do that lat stretch. Now I don't have anything, so prepare the band. You're going to step back, grab your sturdy thing, push your butt back, and then I want you to push your armpit in the direction of the side that you're stretching. The stretch should be down the lat. That muscle that attaches right about the armpit and then goes all the way to the lower back. We're just going to hold that for 5, 4, dragon, and sweet sides. What we're trying to do is clear a little bit of room through those lats to the shoulders. Because of all the overhead lifting we're going to be doing. Three, 2, 1. All right. You get to get down on your face. So lying flat on the stomach. We're going to do what we call a prone victory. So arms outstretched. And you can kind of see what I'm doing. Let's try it like this. And from here, I just want you to lift your arms up off the ground, but keep them straight. So. I don't want you to lift your head and chest off the ground. It's just the arms. And then hands and knees. You can have your toes dug in or you can have your feet flat. Doesn't really matter. Chest up, eyes at the horizon, and rocking. In that rocking, make very sure that the hips don't tuck under, they don't round. You keep your chest up and keep that curvature in the lower back. Just clearing the way for some squats. All right, guys, all warmed up. Now, the circuit we did last week was high pulls, thrusters, then we had presses, then we had overhead squats, and then we had some windmills. And we all did that with that grocery bag full of books, which is what I have here. So the numbers last week were 10, 8, 6, 4, and 2. All we're doing today is going to 12, 10, 8, 6, and 4. So we're adding 2 repetitions on every exercise, every round. Now I'll run you through the exercises. As usual, what's in the bag, you ask? Oh, that's a good question. So we have pushing the limits with El Cavlato. It's all about body weight workout. Then we have an absolute must-have for any personal trainer, physiotherapist, Ultimate Back Fitness and Performance by Dr. Stuart McGill. What else do we have in here? Ooh, starting strength. That's a classic. So yeah, like I said, all the good stuff. So high pulls. Your bag starts on the ground, chest is up. Should be able to read what's on my hoodie to start with. We don't want to hide that logo. So we're in sort of like a half squat position. You push the ground away, pull through, elbow leads the way, and we're going to do that for 12 repetitions. Now you can do this if your body for some reason doesn't agree with this movement. But first thing to try is keep your butt on. So really squeeze your glutes because they protect your knee. Second exercise, thruster. So the bag is resting against the forearm. The forearm is in front of the body. You're going to squat down, nice and low if you can, and then drive up and lock out. Down, up. Try to keep the contact with the bag so it doesn't start flying around. Now for some reason squat's a no-go, dip and drive, dip and drive. It's called a push press rather than a thruster, but still it gets that lower body involved and will get your heart rate up. After 10 of the thrusters, we're going to go into 8 presses. Strict work, no lower body involvement here. After 10 of those presses, we're going to go into 8 overhead squats. If that's a no-go, keep it higher. And then we're going to finish up turning this foot out to the windmill. Again, we did this last week, so it shouldn't be too much of a shock to the system. I'm going to turn this slightly because, of course, I positioned myself right above the beam, and we don't want that. So we'll go to the other side, starting high pulls for 12, thrusters or push presses for 10, strict presses for 8. Then we have 6 overhead squats, and we'll have 4 windmills each side, or 4 windmills on one side, of course, and then after that we repeat it all on the other side. Now last week we had 5 rounds. We had 3 minutes per round. This week we only do 4 rounds, and we have 4 minutes per round. So those extra reps, they kind of get given back to you by the fact we do less rounds and you have more time to do a round. So if it takes you 3 minutes to do the whole right side and to do the whole left side, it means you have 1 minute of rest. Resting is fine, guys. This is not an evil word or anything like that. Ideally, you want to work so hard, you kind of have to rest. Otherwise, you're just doing cardio, and we also want to be nice and strong. I hope this all makes sense. I think it will. What you need is a bag that you feel comfortable doing some overhead presses with. Now, I have some extra books lying around. These are some classics. We've got Strength and Practice of Strength Training by Zatsiorsky. Then we have Super Training by Mel Siff. And then we have some, also Mel Siff's Facts and Fallacies of Strength Training. So after every round, feel free to add a book. But if you get to a point where you're like, oh, this was perfect weight, then that is your weight to stay on. Now, no luck reviving the timer, but I do have a stopwatch, so we've stepped it up from yesterday. Don't worry, the timer will be back tomorrow, one way or the other. So if you have your bag ready, if you have your books ready, if you have your workout place ready, let's get started. Starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. So, high pulls. And thrusters, only 10. Presses, 8 reps. Overhead squat for 6. Get as low as you can. Keep your feet flat on the ground. Knees out, chest up. And then turn, 1 foot out, reach down. Excellent. Now that took me about 80 seconds to do the one side. So now we're going to do the other side. Remember, we have 4 minutes to get it all done. So it should be enough time, I think. Use your legs here, guys. You might already feel this arm a bit dead, or at least the shoulder. So the more we can do with the lower body, the better off we'll be. This bar is in such an annoying spot. Well, I'm in such an annoying spot because that bar's always been there. Presses for 8. Overhead squat. And the windmill. So I have about 1 minute and 5 seconds rest. And given how my shoulders already feel, I'm gonna need that. Now I will add a book. We've added the facts and fallacies of strength training. All right, do a little bit of stretching. Just try to get a little bit of blood Pumping again. Those shoulders, ooh, already. It's going to be great towards the end of it. 20 seconds rest left, guys. Slowly start getting into position. Eight seconds. Are you ready for round two? 3, 2, 1, and go. Now remember, your option here is just that high pull. The downside is it puts all the onus on the shoulder, and as you probably felt, that shoulder is going to be working quite hard throughout the rest of the movement. Then we have our thrusters. Now, as I mentioned, your option instead of the thrusters is a push press. Saves the knees if those are a bit dodgy on squats. Then we have our presses for 8 reps. Try to keep that shoulder away from the ear. We don't want to end up here. And then we have some overhead squats. Keep reaching that hand up to the sky. Only 6 of them. And then windmills. All right, that was about 75 seconds for the one side. Let's go to the other side. Use your legs or don't use your legs if you're a sicko and you want more pain. Yes, I'm a sicko. Now I'll stick with the whole one. More muscle working is better for old Rexy. Again, the full thruster, a lot more lower body activity, so a lot more movement throughout the body, more muscle mass is working. Your lungs should be working harder too if that happens, but if that's a no-go, do your push presses instead. Then we go for straight work. Six overhead squats, as low as you can. And then windmills. If you can't get to your foot, stay higher, go to the shin. But it's that hip movement that we're after. Oh. So that was heavier, but it also went faster. So I guess I have to add another book. But first, I am now warmed up. And all hail Clayton. You hail him. The Science and Practice of Strength Training by William J. Kramer. Well, he did most of the translation because Vladimir Zatsiorsky, he did all the work. Fantastic read. Well, for me, maybe not for you. Look, all the underlined bits. I'm a sicko. All right, guys. Still 20 seconds left. Have a drink if you want to. I have a feeling this set is going to be a bit of a challenge. A little bit of extra weight. Power Sports Club banner in the house. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 12 high pulls. Now that high pull should almost feel like a jump. So you jump, but instead of you leaving the ground, you put the impulse into the back. 8 presses. Six squats. Twist and hinge. Again, about 75 seconds of work. Let's switch it to the other side. Let's make a switch. Do 12 high pulls on the other side. If you've been watching the Paralympics, you are probably sick and tired of that ad. I know I am. And press. Three to go. Turn and hinge. Ooh-ah. All right, that was the fastest one yet. Oh. So I had about 80 seconds rest, which means we're gonna add a book. Now, if you need help falling asleep at night, super training is the way to go. Look, great content, but to say it's a engaging read, not really. But I've had this book for about 15 years and still go back to it every now and then. So, and not because I have trouble sleeping, because that is my superpower. All right, we have 30 seconds left. Oh, that fits good. Let's move this around a little bit. 20 seconds left. What could go wrong here? All right. By now you should have a bit of a challenging weight. We have one round to go. So without further ado, let's get into it. 3, 2, 1, and go. High pulls for 12. And that is 10. Let's press. Two more. Ooh, shoulder. Turn out. Oh, nice one. Felt that right in the muscle. Exactly where we want. One more side to go, guys. 12 of them. Let's go. Use your legs. Or don't. It's up to you. Just 2 more to go. And then the gut check, strict press. Turn out. Whew. All right. Well, that felt good in a sick sort of way. Now, thinking about weight, what was this? I reckon 15, maybe 16 kilos by the end of it, which sounds about right if I do it with a kettlebell. That's a little bit more wobbly, a little less stable, so I reckon the kettlebell will be easier. Dumbbells, of course, are even more stable, so even easier. That is a little bit harder for the shoulder to manage. Now, we're gonna do some stretching. First place, if you can, I want you to find a place you can do some hanging. So I'm gonna use that annoying ceiling strut here and just hang. Now, if you don't have anywhere to hang, tough titties. No, we'll just, we can just skip this one. But what I want you to do is try to feel that those arms are being pulled out of the socket. This decompresses the spine. If you need to put your feet on the ground, that's absolutely fine. But we can all do with a little bit more hanging in our lives. All right, next up, we're gonna do some more lat stretching. So, yeah, I want you on the knees in kind of like that prayer position we've done before, with the arms outstretched in front of you. What we're gonna do, we're gonna walk the hands to one side and get that stretch on the lat. Maybe a little bit of triceps, maybe a little bit of shoulder. So we're in our praying position, and then we're going to walk the hands over to one side until you feel that stretch throughout here, and really push into that stretch as well. And then we walk the hands to the other side. As always, be aware of any sort of left-right differences you might encounter here. If one side feels very tight, the other side you don't feel that tightness. First, make sure you're doing it right, because just being twisted a little bit can make a big difference. So explore that position. If you still cannot feel the stretch evenly, stretch more on the side that you're tight. This makes sense. If one side is tight, the other side is not. Don't worry about stretching it evenly, because you are already uneven. Yeah. All right, we're going into our adductor stretch. So we're going to line up on one side of the screen, and it's just for me. One leg goes out, stays straight. I have that foot flat on the ground, so we're bending that ankle a little bit. And we're gonna get our hands on the ground, chest up, head up, like we're doing our rocking, and then we're gonna do our rocking. So push back and reach, push back and reach. The area we're trying to stretch, adductor. But if you feel it over the ankle here a little bit, pulling, great. Make sure you keep that chest up, because that's what's going to put that adductor under a little bit of stretch. On your next rock back, hold for 10 seconds. And switch to the other side. Again, aware of any sort of left-right differences. Chest up, head up, rock. Find your position to stretch. On your next rock back, hold for 10. All right, guys, that is you done. If nobody's told you today, you are an absolute legend, and don't let anybody tell you differently. I'll see you tomorrow.